Marge, there's a call that I use, and if they come down, they know that that's treat time.
68-year-old Walter Lomax tends to his horses on the Lomax farm.
Let's go whoop, whoop, and they come right down to the pastures. They're very friendly animals.
On his 100-acre farm in King George, Virginia, he also has chickens, sheep, and donkeys.
This keeps me humble, working around these animals.
Once, this life would have seemed inconceivable.
This wasn't something that I dreamt about. It's definitely been a long road.
A road that wasn't always this peaceful. At age 10, Lomax moved from rural Virginia to the mean streets of Baltimore.
Boy, I had a touch of the bright lights.
In his teens, he committed crimes from car theft to assault.
I certainly was an angel.
And he was almost functionally illiterate.
Documents from the school system basically saying he was uneducable, he had a 70 IQ, he was illiterate.
More focused on city life than education. But he didn't lack street smarts.
It was once said that I had achieved my master's degree in streetology while obtaining a PhD in survival.
In 1968, the year of Baltimore's largest riots, he was arrested for murder. Police said the 21-year-old shot a grocery store manager in the head during a robbery.
I knew I had committed the crimes to be there.
But he was convicted anyway and sentenced to life in prison. Baltimore Judge Gail Raisin was skeptical.
This was a case with no physical evidence that relied entirely on the testimony of 5 so-called eyewitnesses who were white.
A case of mistaken identity, Lomax insisted.
At that time, I was naive enough to think that they would find the person who committed the crime, that I would be let go.
But he wasn't. He spent 39 years behind bars.
It was one of the most horrible experiences I've ever had in my life.
His family couldn't afford a big legal defense.
We always knew that our brother didn't do it, and he had to spend his whole entire life in prison.
Lomax realized he had to do the work of his attorney.
And so rather than to be angry or bitter, I just set out about the chance of trying to get myself out of prison. It took me a long time.
A long time because he had so much to learn.
He taught himself to read. He became editor of the Division of Corrections magazine.
And he learned about the law working with the ministry that helps innocent people get out of prison. And then, in 2006, authorities reopened his case. A new investigation found that Lomax's right hand was injured before the shooting, making him unable to actually fire the murder weapon. There were also allegations that police concocted or withheld evidence to frame Lomax for this murder.
It's highly unusual to succeed, to have it reopened.
Lomax was released from prison.
I would be still incarcerated had the evidence of my innocence not been uncovered.
But that wrongful murder conviction remained on his record until today.
Last year, officials formally dismissed all charges.
With the court's decision today, I literally actually feel free after almost a half a century.
His family was elated.
And I knew God had his arms around him. I know he didn't do it.
The memory still brings tears to his niece.
I'm sorry.
But Lomax refused to lose hope.
I never stopped telling people that I was innocent, and I never stopped acting like I was innocent. And eventually people began to believe that there must be something to what I was saying.
His motto has been, never give in, never give up. And it worked. He prevailed.
Now he visits inmates and lobbies for prison reform.
Better to be prepared for the long run.
Traveling nearly 2 hours each way from Virginia to Baltimore.
Making that drive, I may have been placed in a situation that I was placed in order to learn the lesson that I needed to learn in order to come out and do this work.
The man who has pushed that bill a great deal from the outside is Walter Lomax, who's project director of the Maryland Restorative Justice Initiative, who served many years in prison for something he didn't do, and has dedicated his life to making things better here since he's been back in the outside. Good to have you back in the studio, Walter Lomax.
Thank you. I'm glad. Thanks for inviting me back, Mark. We're talking about people who serve 25, 30, 40, in some cases more than that are just languishing in prison, warehousing, wasting our taxpayers' dollars.
Now Lomax walks the halls of the State House talking with legislators about the need for reform.
To see him here in Annapolis trying to change the laws to make other people's lives better and easier, and help some of those that, again, maybe had been in the same situation that he was in, absolutely innocent.
At rallies in the state capitol, he lobbies for legislation to take politics out of parole.
The reality is the majority of these individuals, if given a meaningful opportunity, that they will, at the very least, deserve that.
At Towson University, he continues to educate youth about the justice system.
A lot of the problems that exist in Maryland's prison specifically is a direct result of the elimination of rehabilitative programs.
His family understands his passion for the work.
He's doing the work that God would want him to do, you know, so he brought him here and he's given back in so many ways.
On his farm, he reads from one of the 2 books he wrote about his life.
Being an innocent man, I sometimes find it difficult to imagine how someone could be incarcerated for so long without being vindicated. However, when I think about the tragedy of my situation, I'm reminded of how many other innocent people may have been put to death.
He says he always knew he wouldn't die in prison, that his life now has purpose it never did before.
When I do meet my demise, hopefully I've been able to fulfill the destiny that was laid out for me to do. I was there as a part of a plan that was much far bigger than, you know, who I am as an individual.
Reporting from King George, I'm Valerie Young.